on all the latest stuff, from the comics and movies, games and TV shows. This is the place where the hype always grows. Come on, tune in to Popsters. Get ready for some interviews like no other. Pop's bringing the heat. They always smother reviews that'll make you laugh and maybe cry. They bring in the fire. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Pops, they're the ones who watch with critics and panelists. They always hit the top. If you're into pop culture, come on, tune in to Popsters. Pop Ross. Brother wants to watch the critics and panelists. They always hit the top. If you're into
There we go. There we go. There we are. Pops is got our theme song. We got a theme song going. We'll have to get an edit with the video. I haven't been able to figure all that out. I got to get a lot more fire clips and things that seem like some guitar riffs and things that would be appropriate for Tuesday, which is Talk Hard Day. It just might as well just be renamed. I don't understand why we even keep this. It's Talk Hard Day. So here we are, folks. I hope you guys are being blessed. You're doing all right out there. It's great to be here. Gentlemen, I am so looking forward to this. Thanks for being here, Loki. What's going on with you, my friend?
Not much. Kicking butt, taking names. You do know somebody that makes intros.
Yeah, well,
So
I try
you
not
could
to.
always,
I try not to ask. I try to just there's a lot going on. So it's like one of those things where it doesn't become like a priority thing like that. But like everything else in my life, things just keep arriving and showing up. So yes, there's an unboxing video on my channel today of something that someone gave me, and I literally feel trolled. And yeah, now there's a poll on what I should do with said toy, and you guys can decide if this toy needs to live with me or get regifted or what its fate needs to be. So you guys tell me. So yeah, the intro is it's a thing. We'll see what happens. My friend. So Ironcaster brother, Kaiju is here. How are you feeling?
Well, the one thing I could say is that with Kaiju rolls around, I'm glad I don't live in Tokyo. That's the one thing I'm certain of.
Yep, Tokyo and San Francisco. That's it. Like that's it. It's epicenter of Kaiju sightings for sure. So, but yeah, this is got to be your favorite time of the year. Leads right into Shark Month, and I mean, it's just the best 61 days of Ironcaster's life. I think, Loki.
Oh yeah, if only we had giant mega robots that could bite giant Godzilla-like creatures, something like that. Yeah, we would be doing absolutely great if we only had some stuff like that. So
it's a modern adaptation of Robot Jocks, right? It happens to be with Kaiju and a lot better effects. And there we go.
It's funny you bring up Robot Jocks because
look at Voltron, man. Oh gosh, so good.
Diaruga 15. It's funny you bring up Robot Jocks because the third Robot Jock movie, the third installment that was planned after the second movie, which was supposed to be like Achilles and Alexander trying to like vie for peace between the US and Russia,
right? Or
the Confederation, whatever it was supposed to be, whatever the hell they renamed it. That third movie was supposed to be the invasion movie, where these giant alien monsters invade Earth, and the Confederation and the Russians join forces to fight the giant monsters, which is a lot like what we got.
Pretty much what we got here.
Rim.
All right. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Yeah, no, this was one of those films that came out in the middle of like my heyday of doing reviews and screenings and things like that. And I went into this movie with such high hopes, being a massive Del Toro fan, seeing the potential there, my Godzilla love, and giant robots meet Kaiju. I'm like, oh, this is going to be the best thing ever. So I'll let my my take on the film kind of evolve over the night here. But yeah, here we go. Let's do it. Let's kick off Kaiju and Pacific Rim.
It's like they put the peanut butter and the jelly together.
Yeah, they definitely stuck it together. All right.
Well, not just that, they took things that were predominantly like a Japanese idea and they pushed it into mainstream movies, especially with the Jaegers. I don't know if IRONCASTER know this. I don't know how deep you delved into this, but listen to this really quick. We're talking about Mark One Jaegers, right? The names. Listen to the names of some of this. Tacit Ronin Gutbuster, Romeo Blue Heartbreaker, Horizon Brave Sub-Zero Sucker Punch, Coyote Tango Supercritical Throwdown, Cherno Alpha Headshot, Atlas Psycho Valor Blaze. And they had moves. They had named moves. Tacit Ronin Gustbuster had Cobra Strike, Five Rings, Blunt Force Trauma, and Ronin Slice. Romeo Blue Heartbreaker had Tracheal Breaker, Fencer's Lunge, Romeo Punch, and Blade Dance. Horizon Brave Sub-Zero Sucker Punch had Flash Freeze, Dead Zero Drop, Cryo Crusher, and Rocket Rush. These are move names from Japanese anime, from the mangas. This is all stuff that was inspired by badass Japanese anime.
It's been kind of known to an extent that Del Toro has been a big fan of a lot of that stuff. Ultraman, for example, was a huge inspiration for him, and you can feel it in this. I mean, right down when we're getting our big old robots fighting giant kaiju monsters. Like, I was kind of reading a little bit how in part of the planning for this, they were kind of considering possibly trying to even do rubber suits. Like they were doing things in a way that it could kind of depict that to an extent. So like you look at some of those kaijus, like the big old gorilla looking one, it's like it's not no limber little like spider monkey thing. No, this thing looks like you could have scaled it in a way that you could have had a guy in a suit.
Yeah, it was good. Pat S is here, kicking in the door, doing front row work here. Hail to you, brother. Yes, like and share, subscribe. Thank you for saying all that. There he is, Wrench of Wrenches, the man from the Great White North. Thank you, Chris Bircher, for all you do. Hope you're doing well, and saying hail to the triumvirate of Talking Hard. Hail to you, my brother. DJ Ronnie G is in the house, Atlantic Rim. All right, there we go.
Next year,
maybe. Matt is here. Great to see you, brother. Hope you're doing all right. Let's see. Christian's in the house. Hey, man. Bonjour. Bonjour, everybody. Yes, Christian's in the house. Hey, man. Hope you're doing okay. So, yeah, just rewatched it. Yeah, DJ Ronnie G. Me too. I just got through it all again. I liked it. Cool. ZBR from across the pond. Hey, Pops. Loki, Ironcaster. Can't stay, but want to drop in and show my support for you fellas. Well, hey, man, we appreciate you, Andy, and all you do. You take care out there. Be good. Can't wait to spend more time with you, my friend. Yeah, Gary Graham is missed. Not that I want to touch this product, but RoboJox is ripe for a remake and completion of the story. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Yeah, it was the best ever all week. Yeah. Gypsy's huge. Yeah. Princess Leia Rose is in the house. Hey to you. Hail to you, lady. On there. And I like Stealth Titanium Elbow. Beat that. Yes.
Gypsy Danger actually had, was it? Elbow Rocket Incinerator?
Elbow Rocket. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And the sword.
The sword was cool. Yeah, that was really well done. That was really good stuff.
So I guess let's start there then. Of the mech designs, what was your guys' favorites? Because for me, it was Kurnov Alpha, the Russian bot.
Okay.
It looks kind of goofy, and hey, it's got that little like extended fist.
Is that I thought it had, is that the one that has the spinning blades, the swords, spinning blade saws? Is that the Russian bot one too?
No, that was the Chinese one with the 3 arms.
That's the
Crimson
Chinese
Typhoon, Thundercloud formation.
Yeah, it's Typhoon, Thundercloud, yeah. I kind of like that one. I was kind of partial to Typhoon, Thundercloud, even though it didn't last long. I thought it was kind of a cool thing. It seemed like it was going to do some things, and I was kind of surprised certain liberty. I don't know, that I felt like the blades were going to go flying off. You know what I mean? Going to shoot the blades out and come back or something like boomerang blades, and it just seemed, yeah, it's fine. I guess of my picks, that'd probably be one. Yeah,
I'm a Striker Eureka guy, so I thought Striker Eureka was that was the final. That was the only Mark V to be created in that first movie. So it had arm cannon, spit roast, stinger rush, 6-shooter, and furious flurry. The 6-shooter is what you see when it opens its chest and it fires its chest cannons. That's badass. Any mech lover from back in the day will love stuff like that. If you've watched Gundam, if you've watched any of the really cool Japanese anime with mechs in it, oh yeah.
Heck, if you play BattleTech.
Yeah, you play BattleTech.
I like the first third of the movie that we set everything up pretty well for a noob like me. Like, you didn't really have to be into all of this. You didn't really have to know, but you kind of have some love of some different things, and they just kind of run through quickly the state of the world, what's going on. We have this great, almost like the first Godzilla that Lionsgate did, almost like ripped off this premise almost exactly. Like, it's an attack on San Francisco. We have the foot going across the bridge. Like, just, wow, this was like, yeah, right out of that.
They missed an opportunity of doing a movie all its own about this. In my humble opinion, we should have got a movie with Idris Elba and then gotten Pacific Rim as like the second movie.
Yeah, you could even go into sort of the aftermath of that, where, I mean, where we saw later in this movie that these things are covered in parasites. You have all the little mites that could pop off this thing and then becomes an entire infestation of itself you could deal with.
And the kaiju blue.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job, though, of kind of getting me into the world. It also just feels like infinite possibilities. Was Del Toro like wanting to do a Godzilla type project or something and couldn't do it, so he just made his own? Is that pretty much part of the backstory? I'm not sure I knew that or not. That's my theory. So
that's kind of my understanding, is that, again, being a fan of all that, it was one of those dream projects to get to work on, but could never quite swing it. And after 98, it's just the ability to even get the license for someone who's not Japanese was next to impossible.
I honestly believe this gave us the Godzilla remakes, the Godzilla legend. What we got with Legendary Godzilla is because of movies like this. I don't think they were going to give it another chance, and Legendary picked it up and did it. So,
Zax is here. He's doing all right. Hopefully good to see him, man. And there's some behind-the-scenes rumors. Legendary wanted to do a crossover, but Toho wasn't going to do it. Mind you, Godzilla outweighs them 2 to 3 orders of magnitude. Monster Parts, Black Market 2 was great. Yeah, good point.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, even how like they kind of worked like the skull of a fallen kaiju into one of the buildings. So it is just this big, impressive place where going down here is going to be some exotic shit. You don't know what you're going to get down here. Anything is possible. You could get some kaiju bone powder.
I truly love this early on too. Just kind of, it's not necessarily a joke or a gag, but it does create some levity of having sort of like the Barney type like set design for like a kaiju creature show or whatever. I love the fact that there's fandom and all that. It's just, I thought that was really good and sort of like the world building, because they don't have to say a whole lot. Your brain just kind of can go down its own rabbit hole and fill in the gaps for what a kid show would be or what the fandom would be or what kids would like. So that was pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it goes to show you just there's almost a cynicism, like having to deal with the fact that this big massive beast like prowled the streets for like 2 weeks, just going around and destroying and causing all kinds of untold havoc. This thing was a walking disaster that humans had to learn to be able to adapt to. And one of the best ways we know how to do that is cynicism, is the mockery.
Yeah, that's great. And I have a conspiracy theory. It's possible, I can neither confirm or deny, that Loki's inside that suit. Just saying. He's almost tall enough.
Maybe in Japan.
It's true. It's you and 24 on top, like one of his shoulders on top of the other, and there you are. You're just, there you are. Cosplaying dinosaurs and Godzillas and Kaiju.
Codename Yasuke.
Kaiju burger with cheddar, of course. That's good. So
what you got to do is you got to play it up. You got to throw some banana peppers. You got to throw some jalapenos on it. You got to call it like the atomic breath burger.
That's true. Is there not? How could there not be something like that? I'd be shocked. I would have to check with Ginger Ninja and AC and see if there's some of those type of cuisines are common over there or not. That's good. That's good. So, Ironcaster, as you kind of move through that, from the early setup stuff to we're actually going to kind of get some mech action, see them actually going out and doing something. What was your first viewing of this? Did you go see this on opening? This has to be an early thing because this is so up your alley. I can just imagine little Ironcaster bringing his own robot, just going right to the theater.
Oh, this was one of the. I think this might have been one of the first movies I had seen in IMAX. Like I was there opening day. And
you took Cayman Caster Rider to the theater and just
I took my motorcycle.
Yeah.
And I mean, the biggest thing I remember about it is just the sound. The sound, it was just so booming and loud. You could you could feel like they were there with like the noise of a monster roaring in your face, the whirring of gears and all these, the metal clanging on itself. It was a really good use of sound effects, of playing up and building the audio as a character of itself.
It's too bad they didn't have 40X back when this came out, because going to see Godzilla -1 in 40X, that was a trip. That was a total experience, and I can only imagine what this movie would have been like in 40X.
So the seat moves and things like that, vibrations, things like that
you
are built in.
water, smell. There's smells like when they're out on the boat on Godzilla, you can smell the sea air. The sea air is like, hitting you in the face, and you can smell it, and the seats move and everything shakes. When Godzilla does the first fire breath, your seat literally like moves forward and then goes back, and as it's going back, it shoots you forward when he fires the heat beam. It's a trip. It's an absolute trip. So yeah, I kind of wish they'd had that.
So when they go inside the kaiju, it'll smell like catfish, and we get the full. There you go.
Get the full effect.
Maybe for an anniversary thing, Ironcaster. I mean, I wouldn't rule out something like Pacific Rim being. I mean, what? Well, let's just skip to that then. How is this film aged for you, Loki? How's this film aged? I think it's aged better.
It's aged fine. The special effects are still top notch. Everything looks good. There's nothing wrong with this. Some people will question Charlie Hunnam in this movie. I think he did fine. I think he did a fine job for who he is. I don't think he screwed this up at all. Idris Elba's the man. So he's always been the man. He's the man in this movie, and it's great. I mean, same thing with what's his name, the bastard that runs the underground black market town.
Yeah, Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman. Okay, so no matter what problem you may have with Ron Perlman, whatever his political views are and all that bullshit, he does great in this movie. He's great. It sucks they didn't bring him back for the sequel. Why they didn't bring him back for the sequel? It's probably just because they didn't want to pay him. But
could be.
I don't have a problem with anybody in this movie. I think they all did great. If I have a problem with anything, it's that I think some of the Jaegers got taken out too quick. We barely got to know you. But they explain that, well, we're decommissioning and we're getting rid of them and we've got this giant wall. And then, the governments of the world start pissing themselves because the walls aren't effective. The Jaegers took them down in like 5 minutes, or the Kaiju take them down in like 5 minutes. So...
I mean, that is one of the nice things with this movie. There's a lot of that gear porn to it. You're seeing just machinery moving. You're seeing these suits with like the little pieces snapping in place. The little spine is being put onto the back of their suits, and it's clamping down in place as it goes. It's a lot of fun for a lot of those little visual details.
Yeah, and the fact that Gypsy Danger is like analog, it's interesting how they talk about that. Okay, yeah, the power source is nuclear, but it's all analog. So everything's gears and widgets and shit like that. There's no just digital control. So if it gets taken out like that, they can just reboot that bitch and bring it back. The other ones take a lot longer because there's a lot more computers involved. So...
Yeah, the fact that it's not all one dimensional, I think, is definitely one of the biggest positives for sure.
You know, one of the other nice things I liked with it is, you know, for a lot of the computer displays, there's just so much color to use. It's not all dull and muted. There's a great use of lighting to it, where just the mechs themselves have all kinds of running lights all over them, so you get to see it in movement. I mean, one of the biggest things I always complain about is I don't like these, you know, basically pane glass that you can see through. It's supposed to be like modern computer screens. It's like that's never going to catch on. It's too distracting, but it works here.
Nothing is very static. Everything is a lot of motion, like you said earlier too, with the way they have different types of tech for different purposes and things like that. There's a lot of very dynamic elements, and we don't get into the weeds trying to explain away to something. We don't try to have somebody look like they're particularly super smart around some sort of weird exposition about it. They just keep doing things. I think that's one of the biggest positives in the movie.
Yeah, there's actually surprisingly little bit they really need to set up and explain to people. Like the only thing they really have to do is the neural link. Just the idea that you have the two pilots coming together, their minds are connected, and they will know each other on the most fundamental, basic level in a way that no two people can ever truly know one another. As the movie says, there's nothing that needs to be said.
Agreed. It was fun seeing all that gear porn. Matt's talking about that giant wall not being physically possible. Yeah, I know that. I think that's probably one of the absurd elements of the story, that we're going to also abandon the fighting robots for a wall. That's such a grace. I mean, I got to be honest. I would definitely believe that would be something people would actually do. So,
And that's what made it believable, was the government being so stupid. Oh, we're not gonna keep making these robots that cost an arm and a leg to make and to maintain. We're gonna build a wall that doesn't work. Thanks, guys, so very much.
I mean, you could easily see them kind of working in just a plot point about, you know, someone who's making the walls is pocketing money. There's something you could throw in there, that there's a reason why they're going for that way instead.
Boosh is in the house.
It's a bush.
Yeah, the transparent displays. Yeah, Pop Angels. Yeah, coming up. So, yeah, gear porn. Yeah, we're being there. There you go. There's Idris showing off his stuff, being the man. He was such a underutilized character in so many movies. In this film, just because of how it all gets handled, we always just want more Idris Elba, and some of the people are always getting robbed of more Idris Elba. So
he's a character that I think in this movie he's used just enough. As much as I want to see more of him, and I think that's the genius of it. He's in this movie just enough that makes you want more. You want to see Idris Elba, you know, stepping up, being the man. He, you know, being that stationary point that everything else moves around.
You know, you mentioned BattleTech, Mech Warrior, all that earlier. In BattleTech, the first pilot that piloted a mech, his brain was so screwed up because of the link that it constantly would degenerate. So they kept it hidden. Idris is one of those people, like everybody else died, but for whatever reason he didn't, and he's got to take that pill. So he's constantly taking that pill throughout the movie. And you're like, why is he taking the pill? What is he doing? That pill's keeping him alive. That pill's keeping him from having whatever it is that killed those earlier pilots. I want that movie. I'm sorry. I want that movie. I want to see that, where they warn him, don't ever get in one by yourself and do it on your own. And he has to. He has no other choice. His partner's killed. The Kaiju's there. He's got to go out and stop it. And he's like, somebody's got to do it. It damn well better be me. And he puts his shit on and goes to work by himself and does it and saves his kiddo. I want that movie. Does anybody else want that movie, or is it just me? I would have much rather had that than what we ended up getting with
Uprising. Yeah, I agree.
Oh
yeah. Awesome One is here. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Soul Assassin as well. Idris Elba's getting crappy gigs like that Dark Tower for sure. Yeah, I love that. There also was just Del Toro's mastery of handling CGI stuff, foreground, background stuff like this. They're just beautiful. There's just some good stuff.
There's just even like a lot of like the color choicing, the color using, like and it's interesting like transition of colors to it all. You look at some of these shots. Let me get one here of the factory workers, the guys that are building the wall. Just the way it's all set up, you feel it feels so lived in, so authentic. I feel like I've been here. I know these guys. That I know that Bill in the back, there's probably everyone knows he's got a bottle of rum on him.
Yeah.
The whiskey flask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just feel. I mean, the only thing I can liken to being able to pull some of these shots off as well is when I watched Chernobyl recently. I rewatched Chernobyl. That I don't know. It's not a documentary. It's just a drama on the meltdown in Russia, and just some of that stuff they did with the miners and the workers and things like that. You just felt so immersed in it. And even though this stuff with the building of the wall and all this stuff it was very short lived and didn't really have any major impact, other than just trying to get Charlie back into a mech. It was really good stuff. Really good stuff. Yeah.
Let me. Okay, there we go. It's like having a little difficulty pulling some photos. Mako, I thought was a great addition to the film. She's basically the face of someone who is this innocent bystander, suffering in all this, who's there to have felt the pain of this more than most, except of course for our main guy Charlie.
Well, also you've got they introduced this woman into this movie, and you're like, okay, here we go. Here comes the the power girl, the girl that can do everything, the girl that the bestest, blah blah blah. But they do things that explain some things, especially when she is arguing with her, dad, who's kind of her dad, and she's like, I've trained my whole life. I've been training for this, and you still won't let me do it. You still no, and he's like, nope, you ain't doing it. Nope, I'm not gonna let you do it. Nope, you're not going out there. Nope, ain't gonna happen. Because he knows exactly what's gonna happen with her head as soon as she links to somebody. He knows that she's got a much more difficult time at this than anybody else because of the trauma that's already there because of these things. And so does he. But he's desperate. He doesn't have a choice. So he's like, you know what? Throw them in there and see what they can do. But at least they gave us that little bit of she's been training to do this her whole life instead of, oh, I'm just going to do it and I'm going to be the bestest ever at it. Even though all these other people have to train and go through all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to jump in there and I'll be the best at it ever. At least they say that.
The hand-to-hand combat sequence with Charlie's character, even though they're kind of like playing it as even, you definitely feel as though his character is not running full speed. She's able to hold her own, and she's better than many of these other people, but she's not like so far superior to him. I think this is where the stuff, when this was done in 2013 to where we are now, that's what we would see now. We'd see this woman who was very effortlessly defeating all men and just and very snarky about it, things like that. She is not. She is just trying to earn her seat at the table. She is not trying to best him or humiliate him or anything like that. She's like, I just want to be your partner. I just want my shot to be a partner. So I liked it. I thought it reminded me of when we did this well, is how I felt. So I couldn't agree more, Loki, on all that.
Although the thing is, like, Charlie's a decent enough character to kind of follow the story with, I think. But I feel like in a way he kind of blends in. He's not quite as prominent a character as he could be. Also, the fact that his name is Charlie throws me off because in this movie is also Charlie Day.
Oh, yeah,
So
we're
it's,
gonna get to the scientists. But hey, before we get to the scientists, yeah, hang on. Let's
well,
say hello to
it's just,
SR. Yeah, we got to get to both the scientists. Burn Gorman, you know how much I love Burn Gorman.
yes.
He was one of the few positive things that happened in Halo. So I'm going to show Burn Gorman some love. Yes, Takara. Is it possibly a flask of Monster Energy drink? Yeah, hard to come by. Penny's here. Hey, lady. Yeah, thanks so much. That's great. So, all right. Well,
Happy
hopefully
to hear your
electricity
power
works
came
and
back.
stuff out there. Yeah, hopefully that works out there for you, Penny. Yeah, no. So the scientists. Here, I got it pulled up.
All right.
I'll pull that back down, and I'll share that. I love the fact that we ended up with like two crazy scientists that are completely different. I just loved it. I was like, okay, so German guy, all about the math. He solved the algorithm. He can have all the predictors. He knows all that. He's just weird and arrogant and whatever. And then in contrast, we get Charlie Day, the uber biologist nerd, sort of like the, Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws character, just wants to be among the kaiju. I want to be among a live one. I want to touch them. I want to feel. I want to go in its brain. It's like they're so great as these opposite versions of the stereotype in scientists in movies. And I love the fact that they just, screw this. We'll just put them both in and sort of have them at odds with one another.
Like this little random detail again, where he's like he's an uber like kaiju nerd that I think most people who are watching this movie, they really kind of gravitate towards. I mean, we all have our favorite kaijus, don't we, Loki?
Oh yeah.
So his character here works as, I think, a great stand-in for the audience of really the target demographic for what this movie is people who they love, big giant monsters destroying cities. And here he is getting to be that guy in this world, getting to just nerd out over this.
But to the nth degree, right? So like, he's not just a fan or whatever. Like I said, he's covered in tattoos. They're only talking about one arm, but clearly the other arm is covered in tattoos as well. So this dude is like, so even the kaiju people that are in the audience are like, well, I'm crazy about kaiju. Oh my gosh, this guy's even crazier than I am, because these guys, so I like that element a lot. I don't know, what do you think about all this? Yeah, he's going way over the deep end. I mean, what do you think about this dynamic, Loki? Because it was interesting to see Burn Gorman's character and Charlie's Day kind of bounce off one another, and then they have sort of like their own subplot, own story.
And they do, and it does set everything up for what comes after this. But no, it's perfect. It's perfect. He's the one that goes in. He's the one that connects to the kaiju brain. He's the one who has to, because he's the nut. He's the one that loves him. He's the one who's obsessed over him. So all that makes sense, even more sense later, because that was his thing. But no, you're going to have that guy. You're going to have that guy that got into all this because he was that big of an obsessive nerd. You're always going to have that. And it's one of the things that just, quite frankly, aren't allowed now. If you're a huge fan of something, most likely they're never going to let you work on it. They don't want you working on it. Whether it's movies, whether it's games, whether it's whatever. If you're a giant fan of something, they're like, no, you love it too much. You're not going to accept the fact that we're going to change it or do this or do that or blah, 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 blah. They don't let people like this in the door now.
I want to see these two do like the odd couple. I think that would be the perfect matchup.
Grumpy old scientists.
Kind of like an odd couple for now. They're just not big enough names, but I really couldn't agree more. I really loved that. I thought this was, so I will say this is my criticism of that, is there's a couple of parts where they cut to these two guys away from some of the action and stuff, and it kind of messes up our pacing at times, because they're trying to make us not forget they're out there on their own little adventure, but there's really not a way to transition, because the other story is like, its pacing and its tension and its stakes are so high, and theirs is kind of a slower burn. It's going to take us a minute to get there to why they're relevant. So that would be my biggest criticism. That's probably one of my biggest criticisms with the film, is because we're trying to juggle so much at times, it kind of like we're moving in one direction, then we're going to stop and we're going to go do something else, but it's not on the same level as far as the tension and the stakes. So But I love the characters. I love the odd couple elements. It was okay with Ron Perlman. We can talk about Ron if you want when we get there. But yeah,
The thing is, there's like the thing is, this has a lot of great little pairings of characters that people you want to know more about. Like, of course, we have all the other Jaeger teams. Like, we've got the father and son in the Mark V. We've got which is a kind of natural fit, and they got this this bulldog. And then we're just kind of getting dropped into this, and we're like, oh yeah, by the way, there's also a Chinese team that has three people piloting a Jaeger. You're like, wait, what? Tell me about this.
Yeah, and the Russians were cool. I like them as well. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I think that it was it's a film that lend itself to a whole lot more material. I think that's what Loki was trying to get to as well. Like, you want this movie, you want this movie, and it's a shame that it couldn't meet a bigger audience to garner getting a lot more material than what we got. And instead what we got was kind of a really bad knockoff type excuse for a sequel, and that kind of killed it as a franchise, at least for now. So yeah, I don't know. I liked it.
Boris and Natasha there.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
We lose the biggest problem I have with this movie is we lose these people too quickly before we even get to know them. I want to know more about the Russians. I want to know more about the triplets. I want to know more about these other teams. And we really never get that experience of getting to know any of these people. They just go out and die. If there's any criticism I have against this movie, is that they set all this up in the universe and then they never really take advantage of what they set up. They never play off of that. They just send them out to die. You're introduced to them and then they go and die. If we would have taken 10 minutes, take 10 minutes. You might not even need that. 5 to 10 minutes to get to know some of these teams and have interaction instead of just like a look from someone. Because I mean, that's pretty much all we get out of the Chinese is we get like, they look at Charlie at some point. They look at him and Mako once or twice, and that's all you get. So give us a little bit more of that. Give us a little more attachment. Get us to start knowing, have them come up. Maybe they know him. Maybe they know Mako. Maybe and introduce us and let us get to know him just a little bit better, and then kill him. And it's got more of an emotional impact because you've started to form a bond with those characters, and then that gets ripped away from you. We don't even really know them people. So
no. The thing is, like, the three here, we are the ones we know the least, who have the least screen time of all the pilots. We know the least about them. Like, why are there three? Like, we just assume, like, because there's a third arm. Like, you gotta give me more than that. Like, even the Russian pilots, at least, like, you get to see them doing something up until the moment they die.
Yeah, it was a little frustrating to have them tease us. Because I think that I will say too that the first part of the movie, because we have the loss of Charlie's brother, right? Is it Charlie's brother?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he has the wall sequence, and then we have to have the interaction if he's going to have the we have to take Mako, whatever. So some of that stuff I think we could have slimmed down, and we could have had maybe another interaction with these guys, or a little bit more FaceTime where they're inside the Jaeger taking on the Kaiju during those battle sequences, because those battle sequences are amazing, but we don't see them enough. All we see them is like when they get hit and they're struggling on the inside. I would have rather have seen them interacting a lot more, talking, maybe having cool little slang that they were used to one another or something like that, some gags they would set up or something like that. Same thing with the Russians, a little bit more meat on the bone with that part. I think is definitely what I think, to elaborate kind of like what Loki was saying for sure, or piggyback off of that. Yeah.
I think what could have even worked, and this might have cost more, but if we had been introduced to them as sort of like, these are the Chinese brothers, and we cut to like a snippet of like when they were fighting some kaijus, what made them a team, like what makes them stand out. You could have shown them showing off a move of theirs, just so they have more character.
Well, yeah, you have the fight. Okay, so you have the fight with him and his brother, right? And then when they go down, you've got him, Charlie Hunnam coming back and narrating again, going, but the fight goes on. These people stepped in, and these people did this, and the Russians spot this kaiju at blah blah blah, and even with us out of the picture and out of the fight still went on. Something where they continued the story in the fight. Yeah, they could have done that.
Yeah.
So of course we also get a little bit of hazing at like one of the breakfast times where the Australian like father son duo are giving Charlie some hassle because he got his partner killed and he came back, and oh, don't go leaving me to dry. I'm supposed to be I'm taking point on this. You're my wingman. You can't go messing up on me because I won't come back alive. It's that jock talk that it has a good feel to it. You kind of wish there was a little more interaction with these guys than basically going from here to the deployment.
Okay. So I don't mind this part as much. I didn't care for the bickering over the girl. You need to apologize. They get into their little fisticuff things and that kind of stuff. I just thought that was just wasted time. I just didn't need to have all that. I could have just moved past some of that. Again, I think there was a choice to give me more of that and not more of the Russians and the Chinas and the other Jaeger pilots is what I really would have preferred. But again, it's fine. They're trying to foreshadow. They're trying to set us up to care more at the end of the movie and stuff like that, which does work. It works pretty well at the end of the movie. I get it. So, yeah, here's our little duel,
which is kind of interesting because we're seeing Charlie go through and we're having him try to pair off with other potential pilots. Like, who is he compatible with? You have these two having that little spark, that little frustration, whereas she seems to always know what she could say just to kind of get under his skin as she grates at him. Like, you could have done this faster. You're wasting energy. Yes.
This is so. I don't know. What do you think of that, Loki? What do you think? Without this film, there's no Godzilla -1.
This definitely brought the kaiju scene back big time. This is a huge, big draw. There a whole bunch of people went and saw this first movie. It definitely reignited the "we want giant monsters destroying our cities" scene. So I don't see the Bryan Cranston Godzilla getting made without this, so maybe there wouldn't have been a -1. I don't know. Maybe Toho wouldn't have taken a chance on it. I don't know. Toho's weird. We might have gotten a -1, but it might not have gotten the theatrical release here, and it might have just stayed in Japan. Nobody might have had faith in it here. So it might have been a Japanese only thing, and then we get it on Netflix or Warner Brothers or Max or whatever the hell we get it on. We don't get a theatrical release. That's possible.
I wonder, actually, the one I go to and I wonder about is if, the Japanese studios were kind of feeling the waters and we might not have gotten like the Shin hero movies that we're going to watch over the rest of this month.
Okay.
Because those have a tendency to be bigger budget movies than what you would typically expect.
Maybe not. You might not have gotten a U.S. release. There was a lot of movies, Godzilla movies in the 90s. They didn't get U.S. releases. They didn't even get home video releases until years and years after. So it was profit. Are these going to be profitable? Miramax brought a couple of movies, a couple of the Godzilla movies to the U.S. They didn't do anything. They didn't sell. Nobody went to see them. Godzilla vs. Biollante was brought to theaters by Miramax. It didn't do anything. Nobody went and saw it. Nobody cared. Even after Godzilla Returns, nobody cared. Nobody wanted to go see it. So what it can do over there is completely different ballgame than what it can do here.
Awesome one's pulling out the unexpected as well, using a Meloncaster reference for sure. And hail to the Ginger Ninja. There you are, brother. Boy, it's early for you, my friend. You're up early. Hope you're doing all right. Japan is always going to make Godzilla movies. They make kaiju movies every year. So yeah, it's probably we may not get them. Is I think what Loki's saying for sure. They're almost as common as rom-coms are over here.
It's a lot easier now. It is a lot easier now than it was then.
Yeah.
Because the way copyright works now. Back in the 50s and the 60s, sure, they'd bring it over, they'd edit, they'd change the movie, they'd do all kinds of things, and Toho couldn't do dick about it. They just couldn't. Nowadays, that doesn't work like that. You've got to have an authentic translation. That's what people want. They don't want people screwing with the movie. So,
I think this was during the duel that they were showing that with the staff scene. So anyway, here we go. Charlie Day, crazy. Let's put on the neuralizing colander and connect to the kaiju brain and see what happens. Yeah,
he looks kind of like Tully on Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
You know who he looked like to me? Rick Moranis.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Tully.
Yeah, Tully in Ghostbusters.
The colander on the head reference. What I made too. Yeah, we're all three in alignment with that reference for sure.
I can remember his character in Ghostbusters' name.
Yeah, they use a colander to do the brain waves, and then they're kind of like, "Oh, yeah, I think we're gonna just take a brain sample." It's like, "Okay, yeah, great, yes, that's good." Yeah, he was great. I would not have expected Charlie to actually pull this scene off and be able to do this role. And in hindsight, it wouldn't be one I would think of, but he's really quite believable as this uber fanboy nerd scientist guy. So.
Vince Clortho, Keymaster Gozer.
Done yet? Are we at Ron? Or not that far yet, are we? No, we're still.
Oh, just about. Just I want to kind of stop like the doorman. You come for kaiju bone powder?
Kaiju bone powder.
I take the stuff personally. Mere potency.
Well, that's the big Chinatown thing. Oh, you take ginseng extract, you get large. Yeah, whatever. Elbow remedy.
It make you big boy.
And yes, we have Ron Perlman.
What a absolute Chad in this movie. I don't care what you think about him personally, but in this movie, he is like the boss. Abso-freaking-lutely.
The man steals the show.
He is something, and they got a cool costume design for him for sure. So Charlie Day, wild card, and Word, yeah, gotta get. It was really one of those things where Del Toro's made the call to get Ron in and tap into that Hellboy vibe with just a crazy immersive character, just a little offbeat, and he's very stylish and interesting, dynamic. Really liked his little bit in this for sure.
I guess Del Toro just really likes Ron Perlman. He likes working with him because he's in a bunch of his movies.
Yeah, I think it's I have this video that I'm going to be working with Arwen on. We talk about Johnny Depp and the Depp Burton relationship too. It's I think there's a certain thing that once you've worked out how each of you operate, how you communicate, what you're trying to get, things like that, it can speed the whole process along. It just makes it easier for a more pleasant experience, that kind of thing. And I think that's definitely the case for Perlman and Del Toro as well. They split, because what they had to go through to get Hellboy done, and this was not an easy thing to get Pacific Rim going. This is a big, big deal. So the fact that he could just throw another name out there that everybody knows had to help his cause for sure.
Well, I mean, you see that all the time. Like what Leonardo DiCaprio's always worked with Martin Scorsese. You see these really good combinations of director and actor. But
hail to Matt. Matt is here as well.
So yeah, Ron Perlman's our black market kaiju organ harvesting, kingpin.
Really great name. Organ harvesting kingpin. Wow. Yeah, that's a scary but accurate description of this character for sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Ron Perlman would come up and try to steal someone's kidney.
Oh, yeah. No, he'd cut it out.
Yeah, Soul Assassin combined our list there for us. Yeah, there's so many more. Tarantino has a long list as well. Tarantino's got his like again, it's these comfort levels of different things like that. So for sure. So all right, let's get back to robots.
All right, let me. Yeah,
If I had a complaint about the robots, because I love the robot, the 1 hour mark fight, the sequence that we get into there where it goes for a little bit, it's dark. It's dark and
rainy.
Yeah, we got rain, and so seeing it at home now again. Seeing it in the theater was, I mean, Ironcast, you said it was epic in the theater, and the sound. But seeing it at home on the small screen, because it's so dark, I don't enjoy it as much. And it was I felt a little bit of disappointment of the rewatch experience with this. Like it's so much better than it's so good. Like here, I'm gonna play this. I don't really care. They won't copyright strike this.
Yeah, I remember watching it on the big screen, and it felt like you were there. It's hard to replicate that particular experience at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. And there's just so much really cool elements that's happening in these sequences. Yeah, it was so good. And this is that sequence too where you have like the cutaway where we have here. I'll pull it up. We'll switch. Tag out.
There's even little things in there like you blink and you'll miss like the head of the Jaeger falling down onto the mech body.
Mm-hmm.
Just that little detail we didn't have to have, but we did.
Yeah. So what I was saying, like it's pretty dark. It was a little hard to kind of make stuff out, and then they cut away. So I will say again with the pacing, it's not a massive thing for me. I loved all of this. Look at this. Oh, robot. Oh, yeah. Spawn. And then
robot cock.
There we go. With the crazy. And I just wanted more.
Thundercloud. That's the thundercloud formation. That's what the thundercloud formation is that spinning blade style.
You like the fact that most of the kaiju look like they're smiling? Most of his kaiju designs, they have the way that they do the light in their mouths. They kind of have a lot of them look like they're smiling. So,
this one here kind of although it came later, it reminds me of those skulker things from Kong Skull Island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I think, Loki, you're hitting the nail on the head too. I felt like this definitely emboldened Legendary to not only take a flyer on the franchise and the monsters and all that, it also gave them some ideas on how to adapt certain creatures from decades prior. You know what I mean? Like, oh, look at this, look at that. We can make this, So I think I'm not trying to say it's lifted, but
look at the way it glows.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the way they colored it. Look at the way it moves, and then think about stuff we've seen in Legendary. Think about the giant, what do they call them? The cockroaches that were in that first Godzilla movie, and how they changed color and moved and talked to each other. Just there's a ton of stuff that if you go back and you watch this movie, you're gonna go, man, I can totally see some like inspiration for stuff they did in these. Look at that. Look at the latest Kong movie with the bionic hand, the bionic arm up to the elbow. It's all there. It's all there. It's just they were 5 years ahead of their time.
Awesome one. Did it again. Pops Rios. Oh, I haven't had that one yet. That's a good one. Haven't seen that one yet. That's pretty funny. Yeah, Atomic Elbow. We got that for sure.
Now, I loved how with each one of these mechs, like they all have their own unique things they do. They're designed differently. So you get to see just these different ways they act. Like the Russian one is going to go and kind of have this very gorilla-like moment where it's going to pound its fist together to get ready to a fight. The Chinese mech is able to like completely 360 turn its body around as it jumps over the one gorilla kaiju.
Yeah, again, like I said earlier in the show, I think Loki, you were going into this even deeper with all the different dynamics of what the Jaegers do, but they're not alike. This was very, very smart, very strategic, and again, I think this was to build a universe, build something that could grow and elaborate into different things. I think I put the links in. I added some affiliate links. I'm kind of starting back. I'm doing the affiliate links again. I hadn't been doing that, but there's a couple of the play sets, the Pacific Rim play sets that you can get. Those are Amazon affiliates, so you get over there and you can see some of the different toys and stuff that they have that really haven't priced crazy. And like you said, they're so different and dynamic that it is interesting. It's cool. I'm thinking about it for my grandson. I think he might be into that at some point. Get into that.
That's not a bad idea. I'm gonna have to go and probably see if I can pick up any of these and from my nephew, because he likes run around the house screaming about monsters. So
yeah, there's like an 8-pack. So it's like I think the 8-pack comes with like the toys and the comic books. So it's kind of a combination thing. Oh, here we go.
That's the black and green Comic-Con exclusive one. People will pay money and they will collect and they will hoard this shit. And why did I get the black and green one that's metal? Because dude, it's black and green
and metal.
And metal.
It's on brand.
God help me, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't say no to that.
Some of these.
So yeah, why wouldn't you want to collect this stuff? The big ones can get expensive, but you can get like the action figure G.I. Joe size ones for a decent amount. So
yeah, like I said, again, maybe you guys disagree with me. I'm gonna take this down for just 1 second, Arcaster. I'm not trying to remove it permanently. So you guys in chat, you tell me too, Loki and Arcaster. I didn't have a chance to talk to you guys. I started bringing back affiliate links as well because I felt like, look, we're all interested in some of the same. If we're talking about Pacific Rim, and you're like, I don't even own that. We can go to the comments, and I got a link there for 4Ks and the Blu-rays and some of the different things. And I think I copied over some of the Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman and some of that stuff. You can get ahead of what we're talking about. Not because I'm making a ton of money, but I feel like there's a convenience factor as well. There's no risk to anyone, right? If you're going to buy it through Amazon, okay, here's the link. Just get it. Give me like $1, maybe. I don't even know they get that much anymore. Who knows? I didn't care about the percentage. I just activated I've had the account the whole time. I just haven't been using it during the Pops era, and it made me kind of interested. Like, oh wait, when I searched Pacific Rim, and I found all this really cool stuff, and then it like made me earmark things that I would want as well. Like, oh, that's cool. Look at this. Look at this shirt. Yeah. By the way, there's some cool Godzilla stuff that I didn't know was on Amazon again. So, yes. Some stuff sells out, so you kind of have to stay on top of it to know if it's going to come back or not. So anyway, back to the show.
So I want to pull up and just show off what I think was one of the coolest shots in that trailer when this movie was coming out. Just the gypsy Jaeger coming up with the big old ship. He's gonna pull up like a sword. It's dumb. It wouldn't work logically or physically, but damn if it is not fun. If it's not a great visual, like
I'm gonna use this as a baseball bat.
Yeah, I love the steamliner as just as a weapon. I thought it was freaking great. I didn't care about how practical it was. I didn't care the fact that the Jaeger does as much damage to the city as the Kaiju do. It was just like, okay, cool, man. I'm good. Let's just do it. Like, you guys know exactly. Like, this is the fandom that you guys represent, and I'm not nearly as deep as you guys, but I just love it. I enjoy it. It takes me back to my childhood, that Saturday creature feature thing. It's like, no offense, but the humans, I didn't really care if they lived or not. I just wanted to see more robots and monsters fight and destroy stuff. So I was totally down with it. So I'm glad that they did. I think it's great. Imagining that sound with that OG Godzilla. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
let me
See. That cargo ship, there he goes into battle. The theater exploded in cheers. Yeah, it was so cool. It was epic, for sure. Yeah, the Megazord's getting some love for sure. Shin Godzilla, there you go. Great idea. Yeah, so that's what's coming up, DJ Ronnie G. That's next week's going to be Shin Ultraman, then Shin Godzilla, then Shin Kamen Rider. Then we head into July, which will be Jaws. And then we're doing what is I got the name of the. I don't want to speak wrong. Was it called War of the Gargantuans? Gargantuas, right? I think I'm
believe
probably
so.
saying it wrong. War
War
of the
of the
Gargantuas.
Gargantuas.
We'll make sure I speak on it right because there's no N in it. I've never seen it. I thought I have not seen it. We're bringing in Jay Hurang, who's like a guru on like totally like the B movie type stuff. So yeah. Yeah, Shin Santa, Shin Rudolph. There we go. Why not? Here you go. Yeah, we're doing it, man. We're doing it. So yeah.
Just a lot of fun movies with like giant, rubber suit monsters and over the top action. Just that really, I don't want to say niche nerd stuff, but kinda.
It's okay. Listen, hey, Matt, a common idiot, let me know. Are you doing some Kaijun work? Hashtag Kaijun, baby. Kaijun. He did a little bit last year. We did ours part, and why not? We do sharks in July. We do Kaijun, and we kind of overlapped a little bit this year. We're like a Kaijun kind of bled into July. We could, I think we're gonna do Deep Blue Sea. Didn't we agree on Deep Blue Sea, guys? Didn't we say yes? Look, are you down with Deep Blue Sea?
I think so. Yeah, I'm down with Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
We have got to get out of this station. Bye, Sam.
Let me take a pause and just say thanks to Squeaka for becoming a member. I don't know if that popped up earlier or not, but I want to make sure I said hi because I just see it there highlighted for me. So
Squeaka.
So yeah, this was also one of these things where they just took a lot of those things that we knew for me from Godzilla and other type things, Kong, and okay, I can see now what Legendary was doing. So I think putting that together, I think is what I couldn't agree more with what Loki's thesis is there. I think it really is like, we can do this, guys. We can go get this license. We can get this to work. So
And make it good.
yes. Yeah, there you go. Matt's down. Like maybe those Tuesday stream. Yeah, why not? Just do a little 5-minute video. Just go watch some Godzilla. Go watch some Kong. Go watch some sharks. Go watch some stuff. Have some fun with it. Why not? And just throw it on Twitter and throw it on Facebook. Throw it wherever and hashtag that Kaijun. And we call our July Shark Hard, but that's the stuff for us. That's for IRONCASTER's amusement. So.
Of course, we gotta get one last little bit of Ron Perlman here. Let's talk about. I knew the minute I saw that little baby kaiju, its lungs weren't fully formed. The umbilical cord wrapped around his neck.
That is so quintessential Del Toro, weird and crazy, out of the box. It's like it's a pregnant kaiju. We're gonna have the baby burst out, but still be attached to an umbilical cord, and then strangle itself on the umbilical cord. But taking a pause to eat Ron Perlman's character, like, oh, that's such Del Toro. Like that was just and I could see Perlman signing going. I could just see that. Yeah, because of that scene right there. I'm good. Yeah.
Someone tell Ron to cool down on the TDS and go back to being okay. That way I can compliment him on some of the roles he's had, because God help me, dude.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there, man.
Politics have overtaken Hollywood is just sheesh.
Well, the thing is it's like we know it's always been there. We just didn't need to know, Ron. Ron, just keep it to yourself, man. I'm sorry. Go to the party, tell your other friends. Don't make it part of the customer's experience. We don't want to know. We know you guys. We got it. We know who you are. Just keep it to yourselves. We don't need to deal with that. So stop pretending that all this politics stuff affects you people the same. Like, just stop. You guys are so dramatic. You're like little children. Like, oh my God, dear Lord, I'll move to Canada. You're not. You're so rich. None of this matters to you. Just please stop. Please stop.
He went in this movie like, yo, little Johnny, I heard you like kaijus, but guess what? I'm gonna go get killed by a kaiju because fuck you, that's why.
Our caster's in timeout.
No. IRONCASTER's IRONCASTER.
I think he was one of the first ones to say the F-bomb, not you, on Talk Hard.
I'm surprised.
I think he was. Awesome one we have not discussed. Well, first off, none of us knew that -1 would drop for us. Like we've all been, I mean, I don't know about anybody else. And James and I talked about trying to get a copy sent to me, but it's just not easy to get over there either. But we didn't know that -1 would be so accessible digitally, because I already have my digital copy. It's like that day it dropped. I'm like, yeah, just so I can just watch it on my phone when I want to now. But we did not talk about that. I don't think we can do -1 fair in an hour and a half. I think it would require more time. I want to. That film is glorious. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Admittedly, I still need to see it.
Oh dear lord. Oh dear.
Oh, that's worse than the
He'll,
F-bomb.
he'll be back. Yeah, it is worse. He'll be back in a minute. I don't understand. How can we go into Kaiju and he hasn't even seen it? Like I understand.
Ironcaster.
He just missed. What?
I'd
There's a
have
black and
bought
white
you
version.
the ticket. If I'd have known you hadn't seen it, I'd have bought you a ticket to see it.
I would just sent you to go back to see the black and white version.
Like it was just like a matter of time. Things just kind of didn't work out for me. I don't know what it is. Sometimes there's movies that I'm like, I know I'm probably gonna like this if I watch it. I just can't bring myself to go see it. Sometimes I can't quite put my finger on it.
And I was late to the game. I thought I was the one that was the disappointment in the group. I didn't know. So folks, we'll
Is it
discuss
really a
-1
surprise
if we
for
can
me
get it in
not
his
to see
hands.
something good?
No, it's just it's so on brand for you. Anything that has sharks and dinosaurs and kaijus and yes, this is the Ironcaster brand. And for me, it's just yeah. So I know I got the alert on my phone like first thing in the morning. I was like, breaking news about. Of course, I Google this stuff like all the time. And I'm like, what do you mean it's only $14.99 to have a digital copy like right now? Screw you, Netflix. I just want my digital copy right now. Like I'm just good. So yeah, so I can watch it on my phone. I only got the color version right now. I didn't get the digital copy. I want physical copies, but we'll get them eventually.
Yeah, we all want our physical copies.
Yeah, we'll get them
this
eventually. The Pottycaster, you're gonna try, yeah.
The Pottycaster.
AJ is here. How you been, brother? Hope you're doing all right, man. You got to reach out to me. Keep me up. What's going on, man? Yeah, you got to stay on top of stuff. Matt's good, man. He'll keep you posted. No, they're all out, Matt. Digitally, you can get a digital copy. I think it's somehow connected to Netflix, Loki, which was weird because that's what the PR said. But you could just go to Vudu and get it, which now are officially your Fandango or whatever they're called now. You just go to Vudu and it was only $15. I was like shocked.
Yep, I got that in the minus color.
Yep.
So I'm ready to go.
Yep. Yeah, the 4K and Blu-ray there, but no subtitles or dub. Yeah, that's what I had him to check because I couldn't. I went online and that's what it said. Those copies that were on sale, you can go on eBay and places like that and get them $50 to $100 depending on which one. There's no English subtitles. It's like none. I'm like, oh crap. I am. No, Mrs. Pops will be mad. The PG-13 rating is like, I mean, I don't think a lot of kids are going to watch Talk Hard yet. They have to grow into it. So. We're the gateway drug to Loki's show.
Oh, God.
Awesome one. Get in the game, man. Get in the game. $15, Matt. Both versions. 15 each.
So you're saying I have to be the gateway to getting people to go watch like good movies?
Yeah, you are. Is it? Wait. I'm really confused. Did he not understand his role around here, Loki? Like literally, there's a long list from Godfather to True Lies that Ironcaster has no knowledge of at all, and it's like, oh, I might have seen a clip here or there, but I've never watched it. Well, then we're just going to watch it then. Okay.
You broke my heart, Fredo. You broke my heart.
You still haven't watched Godfather.
I know it was you.
I know I haven't.
No, yeah, because we were going to plan something, and then the other person I was going to do it with fell through. So maybe you and I can talk offline and schedule that, so you could do that. I wouldn't mind watching it again. I could always watch Godfather. Yeah, I got to find that clip of when we told Mim, because Loki, you weren't here. That was during Die Hard. We told Mim that Ironcaster had never seen it because Mike watches Godfather at the first of every year, and we had filmed Die Hard at like in the middle of right before Christmas, and that he grabbed his Alf like a whoopee. It was hysterical. Oh dear Lord! If I got to find a way to clip that so you can use it against him.
Just don't talk to him about Godfather 3. I swear.
I don't even know what are you talking about?
Okay, so there's a trifecta of Mike, Paulie, and Tom from Midnight's Edge. They've talked about that so many times. It's like Mike will literally shoot anyone that brings it up just to get rid of them because he does not want to have that conversation. He's like, I can't have this conversation again. I can't do this again. I can't. He's just had enough. It's absolutely hilarious if you're outside that conversation watching it happen. to see, because Mike's just like absolutely positively will never have that conversation again, whether 3 actually exists or not.
Yeah, I don't quite understand what we're even talking about, to be perfectly honest, Caster. So don't worry about it.
There's only 2 Godfather movies.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
there's a weird rumor. It's kind of strange. It's kind of like the Matrix thing. It's just weird. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Matt, I couldn't agree more, man. I felt like the black and white one took me back to, because I had watched the 64, if you guys didn't know, like last year. So it was like in the same vein of going back to the OG. So that's good. So, Soul Assassin. Oh my gosh, bro. I know. All right. So
I always find new ways to impress people.
and impress upon us. Yes, indeed. So, you know what? We're heading into a month of stuff I haven't seen, right? Because I haven't watched Shin Ultraman and Shin Godzilla. I watched parts of Shin Godzilla and then got distracted, and then I've probably watched all of Shin Godzilla, just not in one sitting from beginning to end. Similar to what you have said about some of these other movies. So, and I know I hadn't seen Shin Kamen Rider, but that just came out. That was last year, so that was, I had a little bit more time. So
I still have my ticket stub.
oh, that's awesome. See, so what do you guys think? This third act with the whole, we're going to put a bomb in the gate, and that's going to close it all off and things like that. I mean, kind of wrap up our thoughts on this last part of the story for you guys and that kind of thing.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I've got something about it.
It's good. It could have been better. It could have been better. You find out that, oh, these things are like clones. There's a lot we didn't really get to. You find out that these kaiju are clones. They're all cloned from the same thing. There's aliens in the rim that are sending these things through, and it's an idea to transform our planet into more of their planet, and so they can take it over. There's a lot of info dump once they connect and drift with the kaiju brain, and then they've got to go to the Pacific Rim, and they have to bomb it. There's a way to get the bomb in there, and that, Idris Elba's going to go back in and lead the team. Why? Because they told him if he ever got in a Jaeger again, it would kill him. Well, now it doesn't matter because he's going to die. If he doesn't do anything, he'll die. And if he goes, he dies. So, hell yeah, I'll go. I'll go and fight. And I don't know. Some of it's good. Some of it's not. Some of it's...
Okay. Before I let Ironcaster go, I found it very clumsy. It was like you said, info dump. We're going to mind meld with the kaiju. And then it was like, it's a clone. There's aliens. Nuke the gateway. They're doing, it's like, it was just like so many different things thrown against the wall. It just needed to be refined and kind of like pick a lane. Like Gijo, pick a lane.
It needed another movie just for that.
Why? And then, of course, if we're going to have another movie, then like, let's just flush some things out that people care about. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. What do you think, Ironcaster? How's that third act for you, brother? Take us home.
Well, there's a couple of thoughts that come to mind. It's like a little bit of nitpick stuff that comes to mind first and foremost. It's like they're clones, but one was coming through pregnant.
Yeah.
Which is, hey, that's questions there. Like, all right, well, maybe they're experimenting. No, that's just trying to come up with an excuse for why that plot element was, why we had to get rid of Ron Perlman. It's a silly thing they threw in just to have a little baby kaiju. And also like little nitpicks of, all right, so when they go to evac and escape, like there should be some rapid decompression problems there that they shouldn't be able to just shoot straight up. You have to come up in stages, which that's not addressed at all. That's an issue with deep sea diving that I know happens. But I mean that's getting a little nitpicky with that.
But I find those moments a little distracting. So I was with you, like when so in the rewatch, because it's been so long. I don't think I've seen this since we got it digitally. I don't have a physical copy of this. And it's been a long time since I watched this, and I kind of felt that way. Like the last part of the film, I don't say I got myself daydreaming, but I felt like I wasn't as attentive and had to go back and watch a couple times here because I felt like there was just, like Loki said, there was just so many pieces. And it's not that any of it's really even that bad. It's kind of like it's too much. It's all clunky. It's like stuff that's the last just throw all this against the wall. It's like, well, wait, we didn't really need this piece. And what about this? And yeah, so it is what it is.
Have
or-
the last battle as them saving that city. Okay, they defend the Shatter Dome, they defend the city, they save the city. The baby kaiju's born. Homeboy runs up. Oh my god, they're clones and it's aliens and blah 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 blah, and they're here to kill us and yada yada yada. And they're like, huh? And they end the movie there, and then you bring it back with them like storming the beaches of Normandy, trying to get them to stop it, until finally they're like, screw it, we'll send one in a suicide mission. But they try and go in and fight him. That would have been cool. But give us more time to absorb what the hell is going on. Then we're gonna throw everything and the kitchen sink at you at the end, and you just got to deal with it.
Yep.
Plus, he gives you a much better sequel than what we got in Uprising. God help me.
Yeah, we could have just condensed it down to along the Ring of Fire. We have the kaijus popping up here or there that we build these robots to fight, but then suddenly out of nowhere, like the queen of the kaijus is coming up, and now they're starting to get her really big guards, her really larger forces that they got to centralize and focus on, then take the fight to her lair.
Right.
But I mean, there's little issues like the thing is that would then solve the problems that are there. Like, well, if we have to have the genetic code to be able to go through the gates, then how is the Jaeger able to go through without the corpse when he's between the different little gates?
Yeah. How do they get out? Yeah, the other way. Yeah.
Or how does the escape pod go up when presumably they're like not?
It's not open that way, right?
Yeah. It's nitpicking. Ultimately, the movie it's fun, but you just don't really think about it too much. I like being able to see like a giant mech pull up a tanker car, a tanker boat, and using it like a sword to beat the snot out of a mech.
Why are we here? Are we here because we want like detailed, in-depth science fiction, blah blah blah, or do we want to see giant robots kicking the shit out of giant monsters?
Yep,
honestly,
exactly.
Who went to the theater to see giant robots kicking the shit out of giant monsters?
It was Rock'em Sock'em Robots and Kaiju for me. Like that's all I wanted. And then, like I said, so I'll get my ranking first. I am not a big fan of Pacific Rim. It's sort of meh for me. I'm at like a 2.5 out of 5. I get the add a star. You like it more because that's what you're into thing. I just have to deal with too much lollygagging plot stuff in that first third, and then this weird informational dump thing. It's like, but we have this cool moment where you just pop the sword and split this one, and we just did this, and like that's what I want. I didn't need my brain to be distracted by topics of clones and aliens and this and this. It was like, oh my gosh. So it's one of these things where I think that going forward, I will enjoy rewatching this better, but it's going to be that typical thing where I'm going to be watching like 35 to 40 minutes of this movie. You know what I mean? I'm going to be like, I don't need this part, don't need that part. Just boop, boop, boop. There you go. And I get like this little pops cut version of it, and that's what I'll enjoy going forward.
You could probably cut this down to about an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Ginger Ninja, this is so cool, man. Went through some sketchbooks, found old ticket stubs for Spider-Man. Good times. Cool. So let me give Mrs. Pop some love here too, because we have 2, and I think there's another box to make more of them, but she's the one that kept all the stubs. So we have 2 little shadow boxes on the walls, and they're like we have a photo things, whatever. And it's like I think it says Our Adventures or things like that. And there's these, just mass amounts of stubs and ticket stubs, concerts, events, press stuff. It's just all in there. And she would never let me get rid of the press stuff. She says you should kind of keep 1 or 2 of them out all the time, so you could kind of stay connected to that part of your time. Not every people got to do that. So hail to Stark of Iron. He popped in here. I need shin guards for June. Fair enough. And yes, Ironcaster, we do need to hold on to those stubs. So
I got a little book to hold mine in them.
Let's see. Maybe the aliens got broadcast from the old Kaiju movies, got their ideas from that. Some of the Galaxy Quest. They're funny. Yeah, good funny. Yeah. Home stretch. Here you go. They had some figures. Yeah, Soul Assassin, I don't know if you heard me earlier. I did put some affiliate links there from Amazon. I found a couple quickly. So if those are not the right ones, feel free to just modify the search and see if you can find the one that you may or may not be looking for. So, and if you really can't find it, if you let me know what it is, I do the Pops Concierge service from time to time, try to help people find what they're looking for.
Oh, those toys look amazing.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in there, man. I was shocked. I am I usually do okay with affiliate links. It's the same as AdSense. Like we can attest to that, Loki. AdSense ain't gonna pay your mortgage, but we're not gonna cry either if you get a little here and there. The affiliate links are there. I also have found that there are a lot of other small companies. This is a new thing that's coming where they started to realize that they don't have to play with these big corporations. They can play with us little micro creators and things like that and just give us an affiliate option. So you're not going to get paid if you don't sell anything, but they don't have to put any risk in these things. Like, you know what I mean? You get like 1 to 4%. Okay. But if we're going to buy the crap anyway, we buy it from one another, you know, that kind of thing. So take a look here what we got here. Yeah, the playset. Oh, I was talking about my grandson. Like there's a playset one like this. And there's like a action figure and comic set one, I think, in there too. It could have been the Godzilla because it's all stuff that's been in my brain today. I was looking at all this stuff, having fun.
Oh,
what can I get my grandson?
This is perfect for having the little buildings to, you know, build up and knock down.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can do it with their other stuff like blocks and Legos and stuff like that. It's like, oh, see, we're just teaching them how to play properly, which is what I enjoy doing the most when they're here. Because they're going to be here in a week or so. I'll have them for some time. So I can't wait. So what was your score on this, Ironcaster? This is definitely the biggest thing up your alley, that kind of thing. What would you kind of score this at?
So it's a movie I haven't seen. I don't think I've really seen it much at all since it came out. So it's been probably about a good 7-8 years, if that, since I've seen this last. So it's just kind of, it's something I've always kind of kept in the back of my mind is like, oh yeah, I remember liking that when it came out. I think, you know, a lot of the characters in this movie are, you know, they exist in some ways to sort of be these, you know, cardboard cutout of characters. Like you expect, you know, someone to be the stern military type guy. So we got to have, you know, Idris Elba for that. When he does a good enough job. Charlie Day is, I think, probably my favorite character in the film. So I kind of give it a point for that.
Okay.
But I guess I'm probably at about a 7 out of 10. I think it's a fine score for that.
Where I was going. I think we're in line with that because I kind of went with that.
I think one of the issues is they try to work in that environmental message with like the aliens want to come to Earth because they've sucked all the resources out of their planet and they need to come terraform ours.
Yeah, they went in. There's like an Independence Day speech almost. Like we went through this entire thing. And it's literally an Independence speech. And then Idris Elba kind of gives an Independence Day speech. So, all right. What about you, Loki? How do you kind of score and view this movie?
I agree with Ironcaster. I'll give it a 7.
Okay.
It's for what it is. You have a fun time. You have a good time. You have a fun time. It's enjoyable. Giant mechs kicking the shit out of giant monsters. That, like we said, that's why we go to these movies. It's not because we think they're going to be some in-depth super message. We don't go for the humans.
No.
Same with the Godzilla movies. We don't go for the humans. 9%, 9 out of 10 times we don't go for the humans. Sometimes, like with Godzilla -1, we get some good stuff. We get some emotional good stuff. But most of the time, that's not what we're banking on. We're banking on giant monsters causing havoc or giant robots kicking the crap out of other robots or giant monsters. So that's why we go to these movies. It gave us what we wanted. The ending felt rushed, like we talked about. But and I wish we would have gotten to know the other teams better. But for what we got, yeah, there's some cool stuff. Oh, you know, they used the sword to slice this one in half. And oh, you got elbow rocket. And you got, you know, all these cool little ideas that came over from Japan that originated there with their animation, their teams. It's good stuff. So I'll give it a 7.
Very good. I did that YouTube. Lets me give away some memberships. They gave away 5. Those went to Soul Assassin, Anonymous, Joe, Arlena, and our own Ironcaster. So look at you, bro. We'll keep you plugged into all the stuff going on. The early access to tomorrow's comic talks up there. You had early access to some of the other stuff. So kind of keep that rolling. I'm going to try to schedule a member stream the week the kids will be here, and probably schedule a little half-hour stream with them. We did that with you guys, the 30 minutes or so we had them on. You guys were so gracious and kind of, they've all asked about doing it again. So as long as they can behave, because that's why they lost last time. They weren't good for Mrs. Pops, so she put the kibosh on streaming with Pops. So they have to earn it. Well, yeah, it'd be kind of fun. But we should have you on, Loki. Have you on with the kids? Just stir up some trouble.
Oh yeah.
IRONCASTER, my friend, what is the schedule like for you, man? You got stuff going on tonight through the week. Give everybody a little elevator pitch on what's going on in your world, man.
Okay, so tonight I'll be on with T-shirt historian for our little midweek in geek, where we kind of do a little bit of a touch up on kind of some stuff that's been coming on for the week, like yet another cover for a Dungeons and Dragons book that's been revealed. There's been a movie or two we want to kind of talk about a little bit. Some general kind of fun nerd stuff. And then Thursday I was invited onto a debate. I will be on. I gotta find the channel, but we're going over the topic of whether or not Wizards of the Coast has been good for Dungeons and Dragons. And this is something I've been talking about quite a bit over the last couple of years. I've been always kind of bringing up little tidbits of factoids about this or that, and so I guess I was kind of seen as someone who knows, who is able to hold his own in the conversation enough to be invited onto a debate team.
Yeah, I mean, that you would be the person I would think of when I would think of this kind of stuff. So for sure. Yeah, I saw Paramount kind of like canceled their plans. They're not moving forward, so the D&D stuff's not got the legs they hope for. Paramount doesn't probably have cash, so we'll see how that plays out for them.
Right.
So.
As far as I know, Skydance is going to have Paramount in its pocket here in the next couple of months.
Yeah, it's probably going to work
should
itself
be
out.
done soon. So Sony lost. Sony's not going to get them. And it'll be Skydance. So that's probably why we're not going to get another Dungeons and Dragons movie.
The thing is, like, from what I've heard, it's actually not a bad movie, but it's just a combination of people seem to be over Hollywood, and the core audience that the movies should be speaking to just got pissed off by the parent company. Mm-hmm. It was just sort of this 1-2 combo of reasons for why this movie failed. But ultimately, though, we've kind of got other fan works that are going to step up and take that place. Of course, you remember the movie The Gamers Darkness Rising. We talked about it on here.
Yeah, to our D&D night. Yep.
They are the company that made that movie, the little independent filmmakers, currently have live a Kickstarter for the 4th film. That's sort of a wrap up of the story that they had going with that. So
fans
maybe
making fan stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So there will be fan works to step up and frankly do the best Dungeons and Dragons movie that we could get.
That's good stuff. I'm with Matt. I didn't do a review of the D&D movie because I felt like it was just Matt. It was like, yeah, all right, it was all right. It's just meh. So, yeah, I know. So they will be on later, Chris. You may have misunderstood. So, all right, the week ahead, crazy for you, Loki. What's going on?
Well, we've got YouTube Talk tomorrow. You know what that's always like.
Mm-hmm.
Mix and Iron Man and me had a great time this morning.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We'll be doing YouTube Talk tomorrow, Thursday, obviously Thirsty Thursday, and Friday. The weekend is what's going to be a big thing. So we're going to go see Fellowship of the Ring 4K Extended Edition in theaters on Saturday. We're going to go see Two Tower 4K Extended Edition on Sunday. Then on Monday, we're going to have Arwen on as a special guest on 0 Hour, where we are going to talk about the Lord of the Rings trilogy, if it still holds up today. Just the trilogy, not anything to do with The Hobbit or anything else that's coming out. And why Zeropium finds those movies a boring slog that are not iconic. And that's his thing. I fell asleep through him. I don't know why you want me on there. I said, well, you've got me gushing over the movie. You're going to have Arwen gushing over the movies. We need something. And you've got it because you are just like, I fell asleep in Fellowship. I fell asleep in Two Towers. All my friends were like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest trilogy ever," and I'm sitting there going, "No, it's not." So
All right.
to have that perspective come Monday, I think will be important. And we'll go see Return of the King that night, which will have 30 different endings, which I agree with Sorpium has too many endings. But also Jack Nicholson said the same thing to Elijah Wood during the premiere of the original movie, and that wasn't even the extended cut. He was outside smoking when Elijah Wood went out, and he goes, "Your movie's got too many endings, kid." "What do you mean it's got too many endings? You fade to black here, and then 5 minutes later you fade to black again, and then 5 minutes later after that you fade to black again." So,
All right, Penny, go eat. We're gonna go eat. One last thing, we have not decided. Loki wasn't here when we brought. We've got to figure out how to give these away.
oh no,
Yeah.
that's tuna, the tuna eater, right? Yeah, that's the tuna.
It's Iguanazilla. I know. I
Oh.
didn't even know where I had them. So, yeah, folks, if you are members and you guys want to get hooked up, let me know. We'll figure it out. We got to figure out
Those
a
are
paper ship.
cards.
Yeah, it's trading cards. They're widescreen trading cards.
How did they even make trading cards when it's just like? How did they do trading cards? What is it? People in the movie?
Probably.
You got the Nick Totopoulos card.
Yeah, I assume so. Sure.
I got the scratch and sniff fish card.
I don't know. I don't know what there is. It's called Superview. It's not even a company. It's like they didn't have a Tops or an Upper Deck brand. It's some other thing. I don't know. I don't know how I even got them. It says 5 premium cards in a pack. It's done by Inkworks. Okay, that's a bigger name company. I know who they are. Yeah, full color. Yeah, widescreen cards. There you go.
Wow.
Iguanazilla. So
Iguanazilla.
yeah, he wants to open those up on their channel and talk about that. So, all right, we're going to head out the door, and it's great that he's here. He made it just in time to hear his outro song. For those of you who don't know, yes, we have some great music. We have not got all of it worked out. You'll definitely hear it on some of my other videos, the thank you part for sure, but I'm glad you made it as well, my friend. Thank you for the music. We appreciate it. Thanks to all of you out there. We're going to start that tune going, and see you guys next week. Talk hard. It'll be Shin Ultraman next week, right? And we'll have a great guest, OGGM's in the house.
Oh,
and
are we starting with Ultraman? Or we Godzilla?
No, we had already scheduled him for Ultraman,
Okay.
So that's kind of how we did it. I know it's not in the order of, it's not in the production order, but it turned out to be the way it just worked with the schedule. I didn't want to change his date on him. We'd already locked it in before we had the vote back on Shin Godzilla or not. Because I thought the other movie was winning the poll, and I didn't want to pull the plug on the poll. So, but all right, folks, listen, you guys take care. We'll see you guys next week. All right, see you.